All right, so here's what I usually do, Anthony, for each, anytime I get to like the driving range or like early in the morning, like the number one thing people do is they tear their rotator cuff one swing out for a whole year.
Yeah.
So basically what I always start with is I do arm circles, so you like this, arm circles, forward and backward. This comes from Egoscue. It's just good to do anyway. It strengthens your cuff. If it starts burning, that's a good thing, you know? And so I try to do like, I don't know, sometimes I'll count like 50 to 100 of these, and then I'll go the other way and switch it. And so that's important, because that'll also keep strengthening your rotator cuff.
Yeah.
By doing these like daily. And so like with me golfing pretty much daily, I usually do those first. Then after that, I'll do then the windmill. This one saved Marco Mira. He said his career doing this to the side because it stretches your outsides of your hip.
Your obliques too.
And stuff. Yeah, your obliques, sure. And so you're supposed to do it, and then you're supposed to take a wider stance, and then do it again. And it makes it harder and stretches more. And then after that, what I usually do is I'll do some leg lifts. So like, again, to kind of like fire up the outer hip. Also kind of like wake up my balance systems. Like these are some of the things I'll do. And then I'll go the other side, right? And then usually after I've done that, then I'll usually do like a squat and just kind of try to stretch out my hips. Like,
My hips are always so
that's
tight.
like, you should be able to, you need to be able to like, it's important supposedly for us as like humans to be able to just sit there and be in a squat and no problem. And none of us do this. What my physical therapist said, we should, when we look on our phones, we should be sitting there like this on our phones. Like if we're gonna, you know what I mean? Instead, people are like in bad posture, but I usually will do that. And then when I get up, I'll usually like just move my hips around and stuff. And then the last thing I usually do is for your arms, if you grab a club, grab a club. You can grab mine, it's fine. Right there, you go like this, right? And basically this warms up your forearm muscles, right? Try to keep your shoulder in a good position when you're doing this too. Like, meaning like you're supposed to put your shoulder blades back, like you're supposed to roll your shoulders back.
Yeah.
And that way your shoulder blades are in their slot, and then you're supposed to do it. Because then you're keeping good shoulder posture. And I'll usually do that on both sides, and then I usually feel pretty warmed up, you know.
Feel pretty good.
The other thing that is important, which I've been recently doing more of, is the this one. We all sit too much.
Yeah.
And so this one is the hip flexor stretch. You should feel it like all across the front of your quad. And what happens is, see, if this is tight, then your hips get pulled forward, and that's when people walk around like with their hips like this, like there's anterior hips, and then there's like posterior hips,
yeah,
and then there's like neutral. And you're supposed to have like neutral hip position, but most of us, the front's so tight that our hips are like this, and then people are walking around like with their butt sticking like that,
yeah.
and that's bad for your back. So yeah, so actually I've been doing this one more lately too. This is like you can just sit there again for a while. They call it the runner stretch, some of them.
This one's super tight.
But like you should just, I think you probably are supposed to sit there and like anytime you're stretching, I've been talking all the time, but it's important to breathe, usually in through your nose, out through your mouth. Oxygen, there's a Roger Fredericks on golf, and if you breathe in while you're stretching and your body gets oxygen, it actually relaxes and stretches sooner. So when you're releasing the breath, you're supposed to like sink deeper into the stretch, you know? And then I guess I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
So that's my warm-up routine.